For the first time since 1917, the United States does not have a perfect credit rating from Moody's. It was the last of the three major credit rating agencies to make that move. So what does this credit rating mean, and how does it impact you and your money? For those answers, we're going to turn to Stephen Cates with bankrate.com. Stephen, we're so glad you're here. I know for some people this goes a bit over their head. So why don't you help us understand, what does it mean when a state or a country loses that AAA bond rating?
So it is a bit of a complicated topic, but ultimately what consumers should know is that this isn't a huge change, given that two of the three major rating agencies downgraded us in the past. Fitch was the most recent one prior to Moody's, and that happened in 2023. And that's really officially when the U.S. lost its AAA rating.
So it's been a little while since that happened. Let's talk about this downgrade effect, though, because there are costs when you're trying to have these big projects like the schools and the roads and the infrastructure done. What's that likely to look like?
So what it means is that you really can expect higher borrowing costs. A lower rating is going to translate to potentially more risk for those who are lending money to the institution or the government or municipality. And so that usually translates into higher yields, which can be good for investors, but is going to translate towards more payouts from a municipality or from a government, which is going to impact the amount that is required from a tax revenue or other revenue to support those bonds.
What do you do about that as somebody who lives wherever you live? I mean, it seems like, you don't control that, but it could impact you. What do you do in this situation?
Well, a downgrade like this, where we move from to take the U.S. Sort of federal rating, to go from AAA to AA plus, is not a major change. It puts us on par with Apple, the corporation who is similar. There are only two companies in the U.S., Microsoft and Johnson & Johnson, who hold the AAA rating. So the U.S. is in good company with high quality companies. But we've already seen U.S. bonds having to pay higher yields in order to get investors. We're currently at very close to an 18-year high in terms of the 30-year Treasury yield, as we're right up against 5%. So this is something that took place not because of the Moody's downgrade, but more because of a lot of the uncertainty that's happening in markets due to our fiscal situation with the tax bill, with the tariffs. That's having much more of an impact.
I tell you what else is having some uncertainty. I mean, we know D.C. and Maryland have been downgraded a bit, and we're wondering if that is attributed to this reduction in the federal workforce, given how significant that impacts the DMV.
Well, it's very possible. Ultimately, the tax base and the amount of tax revenue that a city or a state is able to take in is going to impact their ability to pay back bondholders. And so if there's some doubt from the market or from rating agencies that they're going to have the capabilities to pay back the bondholders, then that could mean a downgrade. That's certainly something we've seen with cities in the past, like Detroit, which was hollowed out to a large effect, nothing close to DC or Maryland, but they were downgraded, they defaulted.
Well, we don't want that to happen here in the D.C. area for sure. Stephen Cates with bankrate.com. Thank you for that perspective.
My pleasure.